first week of the preseason has come and gone. It was action-packed, and it was so great to have football back. We got to watch all four of the teams in this division get after it. We'll talk about all four of those games in just a moment, but it's been a busy last couple of days, some moving and grooving here in August before the start of the season. And we'll start tonight with the newest Dallas Cowboy, the newest acquisition to that revamped Dallas defense. We talked about it last week, a quiet offseason for Dallas in a good way, and they've clearly put emphasis on trying to go into this year with a better defense than they had last year. One additional way to do that is adding the veteran presence from Rio's Washington Commanders. Von Miller, a former Buffalo Bill of mine, a former commander of Rio's, now a current Dallas Cowboy. He inks a one-year deal worth up to $7.5 million. Now, let it be known, 37 years old is Von Miller, but Rio will tell you, played in all 17 games last year for Washington and had a sneaky 9 sacks. Jay Tuck, we start here. Von Miller, the newest addition to this Dallas Cowboys defense. What does this mean for Dallas's D heading into 2026?
Man, I still don't know, man. Like I said, it's the body snatchers when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys. So not only Z-Bot did the Dallas Cowboys add Von Miller, but as you mentioned, they paid him $7.5 million. That's typically what we do not do. You know what I'm saying? If we'd have came in for the vet minimum, maybe in past, we would have brought him in. But I love this acquisition. I feel like Von is a guy, we all know he's from DeSoto, Texas. So he wanted to be in Dallas. I mean, he was training at the facility. He was posting photos of Dak Prescott with a Super Bowl trophy. And for a guy that has accomplished so much in his career like Von Miller to say, you know what, the one thing I want to do is try to bring a championship to my hometown in Dallas, it speaks volumes. Now we go to the on-the-field performance, 9 sacks last year for the Commanders. And a lot of people will say, well, Tuck, that was versus Tua, that was versus J.J. McCarthy. I say, I do not care. I do not care. For a team that had the most historically worst defense I've ever seen in my life, such as the Dallas Cowboys, we cannot be turning our nose up at no defensive help. So the fact that we get Von Miller, a 9-sack guy, a guy that can probably walk in, get you 7 or 8 sacks just off the street, you have to take on this opportunity. And then secondly, the advice, the leadership, it's like we're getting a second coach, because I just dropped the Von Miller film session on my channel, shameless plug. But the thing when you watch Von Miller pass rush, he is a technician from hands to technique, and he's going to be a guy that can really lead the charge for our younger guys in a Malachi Lawrence, who's our first-round pick, or Donovan Izaraku, who was a second-round pick last year. Now you take the pressure off of those guys, because a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans was looking at some of these young players like, this ain't going to be it. This ain't going to be working. But now you have Von to come in and be a rotational guy. Is he coming in as the Micah Parsons replacement? Absolutely not. But he's a guy that you can rely on, that when it's crunch time and you need to get pressure, he can definitely dial it up. And he gives us something similar like we had last year in Jadeveon Clowney, which I personally wanted to bring back, but Christian Parker wasn't a fan of bringing him back. So Von Miller coming home to Dallas, he's already out there putting in work in Oxnard. I'm excited. You just got to figure out what number he's going to wear, because you know he's got the same number as our fullback, and Hunter Lipke might have to just switch his numbers, and we'll see. But I'm excited to have Von Miller, so it really helps our defensive front, because he's going to be the fourth guy you have to focus on outside of Quinnen Williams, Kenny Clark, and Rashawn Gary. Von Miller can still win one-on-one pass reps, so I'm excited for King Von to be in Dallas.
Now, you mentioned it. It's a homecoming of sorts here for Von Miller. He was an Aggie back in the early 2000s, won the Buckus Award at Texas A&M, now maybe bookending his career here in Dallas. Rio, he was most recently with your Washington Commanders. What is Jay Tuck getting out of Von Miller here at 37 years old? It'd be nice if we were on the screen to give a shout out to our friends over at Prize Picks. There we are. Speaking of Prize Picks is America's #1 sports picks app, and it's an app that's really easy to use. For player picks, just pick more or less on a few player stats, lock in your lineup, and you'll be good to go. And if you'd rather pick teams, you can do that now on Prize Picks too. Just pick the winner, spread, or total on any game, and you'll be ready to rock. Prize Picks also available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. And right now, we have a brand new offer for new users on Prize Picks. So you sign up via the link in the description below using the code HMA. Once you sign up using that promo code HMA and you play your first $5 and win, you'll get $150 in lineups. Once again, link in the description below. Click that. New users sign up for Prize Picks using the promo code HMA. When you play your first $5 and win, you'll get $150 in lineups. Promo code HMA, link in the description below. Check out Prize. And once again, wouldn't it be nice if we were on screen to give a shout out to our friends at RotoWire? RotoWire will be using them all season long with all their incredible premium tools. From fantasy to betting, they have you covered for anything you can think of when it comes to the NFL, and not just the NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and everything in between. It's all at your fingertips with a RotoWire premium subscription. Link in the description below. Click that, sign up for RotoWire using the promo code RTS. That will get you 25% off your first month as a premium member. Once again, RTS, the promo code RotoWire, that gets you 25% off your first month as a premium member with RotoWire.
A mercenary. Just send him to do his one job, go get quarterback. He does not need to play on rundowns anymore. He's not a full-time edge rusher anymore. Pass rushing down, let him pin his ear back. He still has elite bend. He's still as bendy as any edge in the league. In a dead season, even if some of the sacks were cleanups, it doesn't matter how you got them. He was still able to accomplish 9.5 sacks. And our horrible defensive system last year with a horrible defensive coordinator, he still got enough left in the tank that if you're not requiring him to have to do the most or be his former self, then he should relish over there in Dallas. Good for him, and good for him for still getting work. He's still got a little bit left in the tank. It ain't the guy that used to play in Denver, I will tell you that, but I don't anticipate y'all need him to be that in Dallas.
Health is always the concern with Von Miller. He stayed healthy last year, and when he is healthy, he definitely contributes at the bare minimum. And with what Dallas is looking to do this year, maybe those contributions help get them from where they were last year, which was towards the bottom of the league on the defensive side of the ball. Simone, does this move the needle for you at all when it comes to these little boys? Von Miller now in Dallas, is this doing anything for you?
It'd be the way Tuck face changed when you bring me up. It was a good move. We'll see if it moves the needle. I mean, obviously they lost Jadeveon Clowney, so that was, a vet for them in that room that, Von Miller is kind of just coming in, taking his spot. It's a good move. The dude was productive last season. He did not, like you said, he's not Von Miller of the past, but he's still very productive. And the veteran leadership he's going to bring is going to be important. But again, like we said last time, we kind of just have to see with the little boys. They're having a good offseason. They're staying quiet over there, staying out of the bad headlines, staying in the good headlines. But we still have to see it all come together in jail. But I can't hate on the move. Depth is depth. And the 9 sacks was 9 sacks. 9 sacks wasn't enough to lift up the Commanders from the bottoms last season. But we'll see if it moved the needle a little bit further for Dallas.
Hard to think it won't move the needle a little bit, KB. As we keep alluding to, it was a rough year for Dallas on defense last year. They really went out of their way this offseason to try and correct that. Do you think Von Miller helps do that in Dallas?
Yeah, I really think he does, because you're not asking him to be a star in any sense. You're just asking him to, like what Rio said, just pin your ears back and go after the quarterback. That's all he's really needed for. You look at the depth that they have at edge rusher right now, and you got Donovan Ezeraku, who a lot of fans are excited about. They brought in Rashawn Gary. You still got some inside presence there with Quinnen Williams. You drafted Malachi Lawrence. You got a lot going on over there. So having Von Miller just adds to it. You can't really go wrong, because you have so much talent there as it is. They just got to figure out who they're going to put on the field at what time. But it's good. It's good move. It's a good move by Dallas. Speaking of moves, we'll stick with your Giants, KB. The running back situation in New York. We all think of Cam Skattebo when we think about running back in New York. But now it's time to start thinking about Najee Harris, the newest acquisition to the running back room in New York. Najee Harris was a Charger last year. You might have forgotten about it because he missed the majority of the year with an Achilles tear, only 15 carries for the Chargers in 2025. But his years prior to that in Pittsburgh, 1,000+ yards each and every year, dating back to 2021. KB, what are your thoughts on acquiring Najee Harris? And then in addition to that, what does this mean in regard to Cam Skattebo and his health, which I know has been up in the air dating back to last season? Well, as far as the Cam Scatterboo thing, there are report. I think Jordan Renan came out and said that this isn't a Cam Scatterboo concern, that apparently they were trying to set up a meeting for Najee Harris for a while now. I don't think it's anything to do with Cam Scatterboo. And as far as Cam Scatterboo goes, I think he looked fine in the he probably looked like the best running back in so far in the preseason. So I'm not worried about that. I am kind of confused about the Najee Harris signing. I've never been a Najee Harris fan. I think if the Giants needed something for the backfield, if they were going to add talent to the backfield, it would have to be speed. There's no breakaway running backs that the Giants have right now, and that's what I think is needed. Having Najee Harris kind of doesn't really move the needle for me. He's really slow off the line of scrimmage. His career yards per carry is like 3.9. It's not great. So I don't know. I don't know what they're planning to do with him. Apparently, they said he's going to need a couple of weeks to get back in football shape. What the hell does that mean? I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with him. And if they plan to even have him on the final roster, because if he's going to take weeks to get ready, and then roster cuts are 2 weeks away, 3 weeks away. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do with him.
He was a workhorse in Pittsburgh prior to going to LA. He had over 250 carries every single year with Pittsburgh. I don't imagine he gets up to that territory with New York here, but it is an interesting acquisition, especially at this point of the offseason. J-Tuck, what do you make of Najee Harris to the Giants?
Yeah, I think Najee Harris is a tricky situation. Now, me personally, I was kind of looking at him to be this spell back in Dallas behind Javonte Williams. So, we know when it comes to Harbaugh, what the Giants are going to do, they're going to be a ground game. They're going to try to get the ground game going with Scatterboo. And also Najee gives you that extra layer. They got the tight end Isaiah Likely, and then they have the wide receivers. And Giants fans, Malik Neighbors, they were so mad about my short about Malik Neighbors. But I think that it's a good rotational guy to have. Like you said, Z-Bot, he's a guy that's had 1,000 yards rushing. And I think that, going through the injury phases, things not really working out for the most part in Pittsburgh, he's going to have a hunger burning internally inside of him to really get things going. And, me personally, I think Cam Scatterboo is a good running back, but I don't think he's just a great running back where he can just be your main focal point. I think he has to be paired with a duo. And so Najee Harris and Cam Scatterboo might be a really good duo out there in New York and playing a little bit of the power run game that Harbaugh likes to do. So, overall, I think it was a good find for the New York Giants. It really helps out your young quarterback in Jackson Dart, because even though as good as Jackson Dart showed last year, you really don't want to put a lot on his shoulders. So I think once you have a young quarterback, but you have a good ground game, it really helps settle their offense. So overall, good signing of Najee Harris, and it'll be interesting to see how things transpire when we come through midway through the season. And Kid Blue might be saying, hey, Najee might need to be our number one running back if Scatterboo and that injury is not looking fully healthy. So
if that's the case, that's sad. I don't know, man.
KB didn't like he's
not.
I don't think he's a great. I just don't think. I know, John. I know. Listen, we got Pat Ricard. We got He's just really slow. This offensive line isn't built for slow running backs.
That running back room ain't got no goddamn juice.
Yeah,
in it, bro.
We're gonna be
anyone
running a lot
turn
of zone,
the corner?
a lot
Can
of
anyone turn
around.
the corner over there, KB?
So, Rio, I take it you're not the biggest fan of this acquisition for New York.
I mean, it's cool. You know what I'm saying? It don't move any needles, but it's cool. I think Cam Scatterboo is going to be out of the league in the next year or two. So I think they need an insurance policy to get prepared for such. So it makes sense as a veteran. This is a guy who gave the Steelers 1,000 yards every year. He's not someone anyone would call a leader or anything like that. I'm wondering what kind of juice they expect to have in that room. Is there a home run hitter, a change of pace, one cut see ya type back in that room? Because everybody's got one. Doesn't appear that the Giants have one on that roster at this current juncture, but it's a cute little signing to close out training camp, and a good insurance policy, because while Najee's when he's healthy, that's 1,000-yard runner, and you cannot discount for an 1,000-yard runner, but he doesn't strike any fear in my bones in that Giants offense.
Simone, I know KB said the Giants are kind of downplaying the correlation here between the signing of Najee Harris and the health of Cam Scatterboo, but do you think that there's something more there? Do you think that this might be what Rio's alluding to, an insurance policy in case Cam Scatterboo can't stay healthy this year?
I don't think so. I don't think it's that extreme with Scatterboo. I do think it's just a good depth signing, you know. I think Najee Harris kind of like Tuck was saying, you know, he's got a chip on his shoulder. He was a first round pick, very productive in Pittsburgh, didn't get that, you know, next big contract. So, you know, he might come out with a head full of steam. He feels like he got a lot to prove. So I don't know. We'll see what we see from Najee. I'm not ready to completely write the man off right now. I think it's just a decent signing, like depth. You know what I mean? But I don't think it's a scenario where they're like, oh, Cam Scatterboo, his time is ticking. I think it's just like adding to the running back room.
Before we move on from the Giants, KB, we got to talk about Malik Neighbors back at practice. That is a massive positive sign for your New York Giants offense. What do you make of that? And do you think he's going to be fully healthy, ready to go for week 1?
I think he's going to be all right. There was a report that he participated in 11-on-11s and then they took him out and then made him run individuals again. I don't even know what that means. We're still waiting on more confirmation on that. Apparently only one beat reporter out of like a bunch said that. So I'm still waiting on any more news on that, but I'm excited. I think he should be ready to go week 1. All signs are pointing to that from spring to the summer. He's been running really well. He's been saying he's feeling really well. I mean, nothing's really been holding him back. We haven't had any setbacks yet, and they're easing him into it. They're not rushing him back. You know, they're not looking at this wide receiver room and saying, well, we need you back right now. They're just dealing with what they have, and you know, if Malik Neighbors, whenever he's ready, he's ready. So I'm excited.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that change in tone from week to week? Now, last week, oh, he's back, baby. He's explosive. Y'all afraid of Malik, and this year's like, hey, man, you know.
Well, because you're out here saying you're not worried about Malik. Because you're out here saying you're not worried about Malik.
Comes back, man.
You know you're worried about Malik.
Yeah, that reality starts to set in a little bit.
Don't worry. Reality gonna set in week 1. Don't worry.